Three, two, one. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel with me, Vegan Reviewer slash Reactor. We're here to finally discuss the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And if you guys have seen it, then watch this. If you have it, then if you haven't seen it, then don't watch this just yet because there's going to be spoilers in this. Really do I make spoiler-free videos? If I do, we'll know about it. But I'll either say it or mention in the title, so we're good to go there. All right. But before I begin talking about it, just feel free, anytime you want to chime in the comments below and let me know what you guys thought about it, what your thoughts and what your opinions were for it, and then I'll provide mine as well, and we can go on from there. And then, of course, at the end, I'll give the final score and rating. So just stay tuned for that. And before we begin, one last time, consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel. Again, these things have been really helpful for me because I've been making a lot of videos as of right now, and just expect a lot more to be coming out soon, really. We are not stopping really until the year ends, I guess, or until summer at least, because there's a lot of other movies coming out. I'm going to try to check out a couple more, and I'll be taking suggestions. All right, now let's get into this video. So, Super Mario Galaxy. Y'all ready? All right, here's the breakdown. So, the movie opens up with the Universal logo, right? Actually, I don't think I reacted to the first movie, did I? I'll explain that as well first. So in the first movie, actually, we get the Universal logo, Illumination logo, with the minions, and then basically to summarize the first movie, our favorite plumber from Brooklyn, Mario, started, Super Mario Brothers company with him and his brother Luigi, of course, and they're trying to start a successful business, but it's not working out too well. And then afterwards, apparently the city isn't functioning properly because there's a leaky pipe or something. I don't know what caused it. And then cut to there being a pipe that connects to some other universe world out there, the Mushroom Kingdom and all of that. For just some reason, I remember in the Ryan George pitch meeting for that movie, he asked why I was there, and he was like, all right, just ignore it. Don't question it. Again, I love Ryan George. I love his pitch meeting videos. Regardless of how good the movie is, the videos always make me laugh. So I'd love to check those out. Consider checking them out as well after you're done watching this. All right. So yeah, he goes into the Mario Kingdom, or Mushroom Kingdom, not the Mario Kingdom. There isn't a Mario Kingdom. He's in the Mushroom Kingdom, and his brother Luigi, right? Because he was also there. They both went through that same pipe. He ended up entering, I think it was called the Dark Lands or something, which was under Bowser's control. So there's a whole thing going on with that. Also, fun fact: for some reason, I thought the whole time, I think Bowser was called Browser or something. I have no idea why, unless he is an actual character. But it is Bowser, right? Because you have Bowser and you have Bowser Jr., right? Yeah. I'm not being stupid, right? Okay. Yeah. So maybe I was stupid back then. Anyways, so him, and then he just, for some reason, his name's Toad. Maybe that's just the character's name. His name is Toad, and he is the brave. Is his name Toad, or is he a toad? I forgot what the people are called. Or is he a mushroom? I don't know. Maybe, I think he is a mushroom. He's one of the mushroom people, right? So he tags along. Him and Mario and then Princess Peach as well are all on a mission to save Luigi. I'm going to try to finish recapping the first film. Of course, they asked the help from Donkey Kong and from the, what were they called? The Kong clan or something? The Donkey Kong clan or whatever they were, their tribe. And they come in, they help, get a little bit of Mario Kart sort of reminiscence going on there with the games. Bowser realizes what's going on. Jack Black is awesome. really threatening, really menacing as his portrayal and performance as Bowser. So, they kind of come in and do some damage. Eventually, DK and Mario work together, and are able to save all the people that Bowser imprisoned and was going to sacrifice, including Luigi. So they all got saved. Mario came in. Of course, he also learned how to use power ups, which are um, luckily placed there because without power ups, they would all be screwed and dead. So it's a good thing that they were there for them to use. And they defeat Bowser and they make him small by giving him the blue mushroom, right? Which is why he is small, and the day is saved. And he also gained respect from his father and from the town folks members, I guess. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what happens in the first movie. And yeah, Bowser wants to marry Princess Peach. That doesn't end up happening. And yeah, that's the first movie. All right, I summarized it in like 5 minutes. So there you go. All right, cut to Galaxy. So this one, we have two major characters that the movie wants to introduce, right? One being Princess Rosalina. Got to put Princess in front of it. Who is voiced by Brie Larson, right? And who's the other character? Toad, right? Our second main new character into this film, and he was a cool introduction, of course, because he's a dinosaur, I guess. And not Toad. I'm saying Toad. It was Yoshi. Yoshi's in this movie. He's the green little dinosaur. He's voiced by Donald Glover, which is absolutely insane that he's in this movie, right? Because like, dude is a really big actor, and I think the reason why these movies or why they spend a lot, of course, is the actors. They get like A-listers to star in these things or B-listers or whatever, right? Really famous celebrities, and I don't really know why. Like, there's a need for doing so. Um, it just doesn't make sense. I will say though, like, I mean, it draws in a crowd, but if we're just gonna have Donald Glover just say Yoshi for the entirety of the film, is it worth casting him? I mean, people can be like, oh, what about Vin Diesel as Groot? Well, like, that's a separate thing because no one else can do the voice like he does, right? Because his normal voice is you can't even hear what he's saying. He's just mumbling. But his Groot voice, you can actually make it out the word. Maybe it's the way he emphasizes the G in Groot. I don't know. I'm on a tangent here. So anyway, Yoshi's here. But Princess Peach is also there. So, starting of the movie, we have um, Princess Rosalina, and she is going to tuck in her kids or children, I guess, the stars, into bed. She's gonna tell them a bedtime story first, of course. She wants to tell the story of Princess Peach, right? But of course, her kids are a lot more interested in hearing the story of Mario, who they refer to as the plumber, and they want to skip to the part where Donkey Kong enters. And I don't know if they ever explained it, but how does she know how any of this happened, right? Because it's one thing to tell a story, but this actually did happen, right? This was real life, and I'm assuming her kids also knew that. So they never really explained in the movie how did she know all of this had happened? Like, has she been keeping tabs on them? Has she been watching? And if so, why did she never introduce her to Princess Peach? Like, at any other point in time until now. It just made no sense. Because had they been in contact before, I'm sure, like, if just the two of them teaming up, I think they could have, like, defeated all the bad guys out there, right? Or like, any bad guy, like Bowser Jr., or anyone else who wants to step up. That would just terrify anybody. Because one can do a decent amount of damage, of course, but two together it's a lot. And of course, in the pitch meeting for this movie, Galaxy, Ryan George does sort of explain, why like she never reached out to her because it didn't make sense. In the original pitch meeting, though, he did ask how Peach, ended up in the Mushroom Kingdom. It was kind of left unanswered, and he said not to worry about it. Well, this movie did answer it, so check that off the bucket list, right? Of unanswered questions, but no. Other than that, the movie doesn't explain much, right? Because they were being attacked, right? So she of course sends her to safety in the Mushroom Kingdom, and the mushrooms and all the other creatures that live there raise her, take care of her. She grows up, and then she starts to defend them, right? Um. So, anyways, yeah. So Rosalinda gets captured, and that's pretty much all the entirety of the movie is. In the first movie, it was about saving Luigi. In this movie, it's about saving Rosalina. Someone needs to get captured in every movie. I did think it was pretty funny though how he was like, "Oh, your first what was it like? How do you say his name? Kamek? I don't know." But I think he was like, "Oh, your first princess snapping or something." I'm so proud. I think that was one of the first like I wouldn't say moments that made me laugh, but just like, kind of funny moments to have, I guess. And that's another point I do want to bring up later at the end of my discussion for the film. But first, I'm just going to explain what happens, right? So that happens, and then cut to again. I don't know if Mario and Luigi ever went back to Brooklyn in this film, or if it just takes place in other universes and galaxies and all of that. Because like right now, if it's like Princess Peach's birthday or something, so they're having a little party being set up for that. So of course they're invited and they're going. I guess it's taking place in the Mushroom Kingdom, and of course Mario wants to give her a present, and of course there is the starting of the relationship that happens. Of course, very well known between Mario and Princess Peach, which was kind of there in the first Mario movie, but they were kind of poking fun at it. That's what I noticed. They were kind of like important things from the games. They kind of made fun of in the first Mario movie to kind of play it safe to where like if people didn't like something, they're like, all right, then just take it as a joke. Don't take it too seriously. Right? For example, the Italian accent going like it's a me, Mario, and Wahoo and all of that, right? Like nobody would actually say that. Logically, it just doesn't make sense. That's why they added in the commercial, and they were like, and then Mario was wondering like, was it like too overdone? Was it too extra? But then the guy was like, nope, it's perfectly fine. And Mario was like, well, if you say so. So like, yeah, that one they were like, all right, let's not take any risk. And I think it made sense because after the mess that was the live action one, I did hear more about what the movie was like. I haven't seen it. The movie is really old. I also did just come off of watching Sean Chandler, who I also love. His though I don't always agree with like his exact rankings, I do love watching his videos where he like ranks certain franchises and movies because they're very entertaining. Go ahead and check them out as well. I love that guy, and yeah, like his description of that movie was really interesting, and he said like you should watch other YouTubers react to that movie and what a big mess it is. That when it came time for doing Super Mario Brothers movie, right, the first like I guess animated one within this franchise, they had to like really play it safe and use the strengths to their advantage, right? If you have DreamWorks Illumination as your company, I'm expecting good quality animation, good visuals, all that sort of stuff, good sound effects, all that. Because y'all did Minions and Despicable Me, which is my favorite movies they've done, and yeah, they really delivered on that promise. So, um, um, well, yeah, that's pretty much what kind of also translates to this one, right? And here, though, in Galaxy, right, of course, they were joking a little bit on the whole relationship happening. Because in that one, like, um, Donkey Kong DK, my goat, was like, saying, like, oh, dude, is this you flirting? Like, a princess would never go out with you, right? So he was teasing him, he was taunting him. And this movie, they were making fun of, like, oh, Mario should just ask her out or something like that. To the point where it's like, is it gonna happen or is it not? Because I rewatched the first movie like just a couple hours ago, right? And I didn't realize it, but the relationship, while it wasn't there, it was there ever so slightly. Like something could happen. Of course, it was the first time they just met, right? And every scene just happens one after another after another. So like, there's really no time for that to happen. Whereas in the second movie, some time has passed since the first one. So maybe there was some stuff we didn't get to see that happen in between, right? To the point where this is where we ended up reaching. I don't know. Maybe it takes place like a couple of months after the first one. I'm not sure. But yeah, they go to the party and Mario gifts her Princess Peach's iconic umbrella, right? Her umbrella, which of course is in pink, like her whole outfit, everything is in pink, so we got that little accessory tool item for her, which is awesome, right? Like again, the way the characters are looked and designed and animated are some things like you expect this amount of quality, and I'm glad that we're getting it, right? That animation should look good if you give it enough time, right? And I will say, having a 3 year gap between the first and second one, honestly, time just flew by. Like, um, when the first one came out, I think it was 2023, right? And that's when I started the channel. So it may have been a little bit before I made my first video. I'm not sure. Well, my first one was reacting to the Fast X trailer, so I don't know when that came out. But um, yeah, I'm not sure. But they made this one look good, right? And so Princess Peach is talking to Mario, right? How like it's not her actual birthday. Like she doesn't really know where she came from or anything about like that, which brings my earlier point back. Why did Rosalina never reach out to her earlier? Right? Why did Princess Rosalina never reach out to her? Because like was she unable to do so? Like was there just no way for her to physically travel there? Well, that's not true. Because afterwards, right, because she was captured, that her star kid is able to reach there, right, and tell Peach like what's going on and all of that. Um, so yeah, I'm just not sure why she couldn't have came in sooner. And I think it's just one of those things where maybe the writers were like, yeah, we just can't really explain it. We have to do it this way for the everything else to make sense. But if you want this to make sense, then that doesn't make sense. And that's kind of the whole point where the rest of the film just feels like things are happening. You don't need to look for logic or reason. If you're either a little kid who's growing up in a world where you're constantly being overstimulated, right? The younger generation is just glued to screens and all that sort of stuff, right? If you're like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, maybe even that's too much. I don't know, but you're growing up in a time where you just want everything fast, just information thrown at you like this sugar rush, this sensory overload where I don't need time for things to breathe. I just want, you know, cool Easter egg in reference to cool Easter egg in reference to cool Easter egg in reference. And I played the games, or maybe you're an older person who's actually grown up playing the games and are a huge diehard Nintendo super fan. Maybe this is the audience for you, but this movie was definitely not for me. I can say I was not the target audience for this. So I kept that in mind. I kept that in mind, right? I did have a good time though while I was enjoying it, but I'll get to the rest later. Anyways, so yeah, the two are like talking to each other, and it's interesting how in the movie, whenever we see two characters or like the four main characters really in this movie are Princess Peach, Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi, right? And the way they do it is they want Mario to have more time spent with Princess Peach, and Luigi and Yoshi to have more time spent together, I guess. Although maybe that's just one thing that happens. Um, Anyway, so Princess Peach, right? And I remember I think this is one thing people were complaining about when the movie first came out, how Princess Peach kind of becomes the main character of the film in a way where she kind of almost solves every major issue in this movie, and Mario wasn't really needed at all, right? For the fact that his name was in the title, he wasn't needed as much. Now, that's not entirely true, right? And we have a problem with having a lot of Princess Peach? No. I don't think this is like any sort of girl boss feminist sort of move that they're trying to exploit. I don't think that's true at all. It's interesting that they chose to do it, but I'm not going to complain about it at all, right? Because um, Mario and Luigi have no problem, taking care of the Mushroom Kingdom and just making sure everything's in shape. They go ahead and are fine with that. And Princess Peach, the star comes in and tells her that they call her mother, right? I mean that makes sense. I guess she acts as a mom figure for them in a way. Um, so yeah, Princess Peach is like, all right, little star, I'll go and help you out. So she goes with Toad, and the two go off and have their own adventure, which looks awesome, by the way. The way they're getting ready and go off on their thing. The animation for that scene was executed beautifully, I'll add. So they go off and do their own thing, and Princess Peach writes a letter for Mario. And I think she referred to him as Mustache when she wrote the letter. And in the first movie, she also did call him Mustache, maybe once or twice. I'm not entirely sure. But I guess that's the nickname that she ended up giving him. Right. So that's that. And she's like, all right, well, you guys can just look after the kingdom while I'm gone and just take care of everything. So yeah, that's pretty much what they do. They don't go and try to help her out or anything like that. They just take care of what's happening. It's interesting because you're expecting just the two of them to solve this issue. Now, granted, they don't know how big it is, but the fact that they captured Princess Rosalina must like be like, okay, maybe we should get more help, right? Because in the first movie, they knew how big of a threat Bowser was, right? And that was before he really even captured anyone, right? But he was already like being described as one of the most evil creatures, throughout the galaxies, right? So the fact that someone captured Princess Rosalina, granted maybe she didn't know how powerful she was, but she was pretty powerful, must mean that there must be some even worse person out there, more evil creature, I guess, who's really powerful. So it probably makes sense, add more people to the team. But I guess there's a question of who's going to look after the Mushroom Kingdom. I honestly feel as if nobody was there, oh, but I guess someone has to take care of stuff. I mean, I would have just said like it's fine if nobody's there. Nobody was there in the first movie to really look after stuff. I mean, what? It's not like you need to take care of little Bowser. He'll do just fine, being locked up. I think it's better if that's the arrangement. Of course, we can get iconic Jack Black though, so we'll have to sacrifice that. Anyways, we get a huge sensory overload coming up next with this insane montage of Mario and Luigi just fixing a bunch of problems. And I would have loved to see these things happen slowly, but of course, we have to get to the main plot point eventually. So, yeah. Because again, the first cool scene we got was pretty much so far just Rosalina being captured by Bowser Jr. and his cool, like, robot looking thingy that he came with. And yeah, we have to get to the next like main important event, so kind of speed through that. And then we see Mario and Luigi, right? They go up to check up on Bowser Jr. And it's interesting to me how Luigi, I guess he's just that kind of guy who it doesn't make sense for him to hate Bowser as much. Um, but he did capture it. He was about to kill him, but maybe it's just because of the nature of him. He's pretty afraid more often than not, and maybe that's one of the reasons why, you know, like maybe him and Bowser were kind of getting along. Although I don't know why that would ever happen in the first place. Like, why would they have any sort of like connection or friendship really at all? Like, it doesn't make sense or really justify why this would ever make sense to happen. Like, if he's improving his behavior or something, I guess that's fine. But, again, I have no idea how much time has passed since the first movie, so I have no idea how long he's been little. But he's definitely been fed up with it. And it is really fun to see, tiny Bowser get mad or angry or anything like that. It's just really fun to see those scenes, and I think that's like the first look of Galaxy we ever ended up getting was that particular scene, right, when they were checking up on him. And I don't think people were happy. They were like, "This is what you want to show for Galaxy? This scene? Does I want to start things off?" So, you know, it was definitely an interesting choice, but that was the scene for the movie, which they showed in the first look for the film. And yeah, so little Bowser, comes in with a painting of him and Princess Peach, and he asks for feedback on how it is. Luigi says, oh, he loves the colors, and Mario says, my honest criticism would be that it's trash. And you can just hear the most Chris Pratt line ever uttered by Chris Pratt. Like, it sounds so much like him, you could just recognize that. No way to Chris Pratt. I love the guy, but do we need celebrities to voice these characters? It would just make more sense if either went full Italian, or if they wanted to do the Brooklyn accent. That's fine, I guess. But all right, man, whatever. Um, so that happens. Little Bowser gets mad and angry, and he goes back inside his little thingy castle, whatever made for him that he's locked up in. So that happens, and afterwards, Bowser Jr. finally comes in, and dude looks awesome. Again, the characters look great visually. The way they're animated, every character's design is done so well, and I expect that. I expect this level of detail and level of quality, right? Because they have the money to do so. So it looks awesome. They have enough money to get A-listers or B-listers to do voices. So yeah, it just makes sense. So he comes in, he wants them to release Bowser, and they have a little fight. Of course, Luigi's terrified. And again, I know it's sad, but I love seeing these scenes where Luigi's terrified, especially in the first movie and now in the second one, because they tease the idea of making a Luigi's Mansion sort of film where it's just dedicated to him. My only issue with that is I don't know if it could really work out. Like, how long would it be? Are we going to have a villain? I've heard of Luigi's Mansion 3. I've heard how popular and successful that game was, so I'm assuming there might be a fan base for that. But I don't know if it could just be possible. Like, could you turn that into a feature length film? I'm not sure. Maybe like you could do like a 40-minute thing, but that's just one game and a smaller mission, right? Because I know between Super Mario Brothers and Galaxy, there's a game in between. I can't remember the name of it, which they skipped. I think some people said it's because that game wasn't as important, right? So it didn't matter as much. Yeah. What else? Oh, okay, yeah. So I did skip the part where Yoshi comes in into the film, right? Of course, from the first film, like we saw him, I guess, being born from his iconic egg, and yeah, he just went through the pipe and he entered Brooklyn and he did a lot of damage, and yeah, he's just that kind of guy. Like he steals, he takes from people. I think they were worried at first that he was gonna steal Luigi's motorcycle because the two each have their own motorcycle, I guess, which kind of gave me like Odyssey vibes, but I'm assuming that's gonna be a separate thing. I hope Odyssey is one of the next movies they're gonna do because out of all the games I've played, for me, one of the most iconic that I've done was Odyssey. Like that's one of the games that, I had the most um, interest in just because that's the one I played a lot. Like me and my younger brother, we like played a lot of that one. So yeah, on the Nintendo Switch, I remember playing that. Anyways, so that happens. Um, and then they're able to like escape from Bowser Jr., but Princess Peach's castle, well, because Bowser Jr. was trying to like lift up the whole thing, right? So they tell all the other mushrooms to escape, um, and they do, all the citizens of the town, but the castle ends up landing in a different universe, I guess, and Bowser Jr. escapes. So Mario tries to figure out, okay, what universe are we in right now? And they end up finding, yeah, I guess it's being ruled by bees because they're about to see the queen, and the queen is a bee because I guess she's the queen bee. So that happens. Bowser also asks if he can become big again because he's really trying to convince himself how he's changed. In my mind, Luigi is just accepting it. He's so forgiving. Like, dude, he was gonna kill you in the first movie. Did you just forget about it? Like Mario understands that you were in more danger, my guy, for majority of the film. Mario, like, well, like if he didn't do anything with Princess Peach, he would have been fine. Although he would have been, I guess, enslaved by his kingdom. But yeah, no. For Luigi, it was worse for most of the film. Like he was closer to dying at first when like he was about to touch the lava. So I just don't get it, right? Because Bowser is just so untrusting. Like you cannot trust this guy at all. And then he really makes Mario mad, of course, so he can get him to hit him and become big again. So that successfully works. Successful rage bait, I guess. So he's big, and then of course the queen bee is not happy because of all the destruction that happened on her planet. So Bowser's like, "Oh, I'm such a hero. I'm so strong." Like he's flexing his muscles and his and all of that, and he's like, "Oh, I can do like more than I guess like 50 bees or the other workers. I guess like he can do better than them." So he's really trying to like convince himself to be taken in, so that Mario and Luigi and Yoshi, I guess, can go off on their own adventure, and be successful, I guess. but I don't really know what their plan was, I guess. Was it to find Princess Peach? I guess so. Well, because here's the thing, Mario and Luigi don't know what the connection is between Bowser Jr. and Peach going to find Rosalina. To them, that's two separate things. They don't know what the connection is. That instead it would have made, of course, they don't know that, but it would have made more sense to where if they knew where Bowser Jr. was, maybe they would have had an easier time finding Princess Rosalina that way. But the film just wants whatever it wants, I guess. Again, you're not gonna watch this film for logic or for story. You're gonna watch this for sensory overload of visuals, references, and Easter eggs. And they do provide them, a lot of them, right? So, Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi, they are able to leave the planet. Meanwhile, Princess Peach is needs to go. I think it's called like the Gateway Galaxy, right? Because that's where Princess Rosalina is being held, and she needs a pilot to take her there. And she goes to the pilot area. She asks like the robot who knows where like everything is, and it takes him like a really long time for her to answer that question, right? So that happens, and then she has a hard time finding a pilot at first because everyone else is really scared of going there. But then comes Glenn Powell to save the day. Of course, we have everyone's favorite character. Well, I don't know if it's favorite character, but in the movie, maybe one of my favorites, Fox McCloud. And yeah, I mean, based off of what I've heard from the film, people really liked his character. Like some people would love to see like a whole like sort of origin film for him. I guess maybe it's because he's not as iconic or popular from the Nintendo world. I don't know if he's as relevant right now because I know he has like, games that are a little bit older. So I'm not entirely sure about the whole landscape with that going on. But yeah, no, I think people really like his character because his suave, like his look, his demeanor and all of that. So, he agrees and he's like, I'll do it for money, I guess. And Toad just like shows like a big bag of coins. And yeah, that pretty much happens there. I did skip this really mind like intensive scene where so much stuff was happening because Princess Peach is with Toad and Toad's bag like he's first with this like really cute and adorable monkey who like needs help, but of course he's just a little trickster. So he steals the bag and they're just trying to follow him so they can get the bag back. But meanwhile they end up in like this like dangerous sort of place like where people are like playing a lot of games, maybe like I don't know. It's like one of those shady areas, I guess, like what you'd expect. And there's just this frog character there. I have no idea who this frog is at all, but I guess he's in charge of that place. He is a frog, right? Yeah, a green frog. And because for some reason that information is important because from there she's able to figure out where Rosalina was, so that sort of explains why she needs a pilot to go to the location where she knows she needs to go to. And meanwhile, the frog just lets Bowser Jr. know that they know, I guess. So it's this whole thing of just back and forth stuff happening with no regard to logic at all. So there we go. Um, Anyway, so yeah, so she's waiting for Fox McCloud to like get a ship ready and all of that, and somehow Mario and Luigi catch up just like that, and of course Yoshi's there as well, and it's funny because there's this intense scene, right? Because Luigi was like just go and ask her out, I guess, um, because Mario was like, I guess he's worried that like maybe he doesn't have a chance because like he's not really strong or people. And that's what I liked about the first movie because in the first movie he had this arc where at the start of the film he was told you're nothing, you're lost, you're a loser. I made some Karate Kid references there if you guys know about that. Um, but anyways, how like he's small, he'll never really achieve anything, and then later he gets like the fame and recognition he wanted, of course through the help of power-ups, because without those, dude would be dead. But I liked it. I liked that there was this arc that he kind of went on, you know? Whereas in this one, no one's really belittling him anymore, but, there's a whole thing about it. And maybe he kind of felt belittled where he saw that Princess Peach was maybe talking to Fox McCloud. Maybe he was worried that his chances were diminishing of of having a relationship with Princess Peach. These movies trying to make it fairly safe and family friendly and all of that, which is nice to see, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how far they're gonna go with that. But that ends up happening because the first movie, I guess, was more of a platonic relationship, but in this one, they were like, yeah, no, we can't do this. That just goes against what the games stand for. And so, yeah, because I guess that's what Mario wants, and I guess Luigi's aware of it. Everyone else is aware of it. DK was aware of it in the first movie before anything had even happened. Of course, they were trying to mock almost every important thing in that one, but yeah, we got through it. And again, it's sad that Donkey Kong wasn't in this movie. I have no idea why he wasn't in it. Maybe it's because I know Seth Rogen is doing a lot of things. Because again, I'm watching Invincible, and maybe he was just busy, like he's just been busy voicing for that particularly. But again, his voice is so iconic, so recognizable, and you just love to hear it. Not love to see it because you can't see it, but but it is nice. It is nice to have that, and I enjoy it for sure. So sad to not see him in this film at all. I don't know how long this video's been going on. I haven't bothered to check it. I'm sure it's gonna be a while. Anyways, so that happens. And there was just this like funny moment where they were sort of like grinning at each other, like they saw each other as like a threat, like both were competing for the attention of Princess Peach. But I knew nothing, like there wasn't gonna be anything like any bad blood gonna happen between them at all. I knew this because Fox McCloud, at first he kind of was only interested in doing it for the money. He just seemed like that kind of guy. I'm assuming he's more cool than that. So I knew that, whereas Mario has definitely spent more time with Princess Peach, so he's coming from a whole different standpoint. He's in as cool looking, I guess, because for nothing without your powers, you don't deserve them. Um, Kind of a homecoming reference. I don't know why I'm making so many references in this video where I complain about the movie having so many references. I don't know. I guess it's just a fun thing to do. Anyways, so they both go, and yeah, they just like each other. They respect each other, and that was what I was hoping for. You love to see it, just two dudes respecting each other, and let's just not care about Princess Peach at all anymore. Let's just have these two be the main stars for the rest of the film. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, they go off, and honestly, I can't remember honestly what happens for the rest of the film. I'm gonna skip a little bit later to the point where Bowser Jr. Oh, I remember now, because his father was on the planet with the bees, right? And then I guess he's able to save him because the other bees, like, they ask him like, "Oh, is there someone like who you like?" And Bowser does bring up Princess Peach, but I think he did I say yeah, because Bowser knows that, and yeah, he's just like, yeah, my chances are kind of slim. So then, of course, Bowser Jr. comes in. He finds out where he is, and he explains to him, I guess, like why he cares so much for him. Because when he was really little, his father would tell him stories about how they were going to take over and rule the world together and conquer almost every single planet and universe out there because they deserved it, I guess. And Bowser Jr. was like, "Yep, I'm totally on board with that." Like Bowser Jr. had no issues with any of his ideas, and they wanted to like make like this whole Planet Bowser thing, which is just a place for them because I guess maybe they were rejected or outcast by almost everyone else, which I have no idea why. Maybe it's just because they come off scary looking, but I'm sure if they use their scary looking features to like make them protectors in their own way, I don't think that would terrify anyone else. Because it was funny because when like they were first gonna go and talk to the queen bee, right? They're like, "All right, no, Bowser, you can't come in here, right? You're too scary looking. Which I'm like, I think the queen bee can defend herself. No, I think she's fine with that. But yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, Bowser is aware of his plan being in motion, and actually, I do want to know: is Planet Bowser a real thing, or is it just a made up thing? Um, let's see here. I think this is people were talking about the movie, um, Bowser Jr.'s Planet. Yeah. So I think they just made it up for the film, I guess. Because when I first thought about it, like a planet for Bowser, well, it sounds really cool. I'm like, who's even gonna live there? Is it just gonna be like his Koopas, his Goombas, and whatever those things are? Sort of scenario. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, he gives a very rousing speech, and that inspires the other people who really like him and care about him that, yeah, we deserve everything, we're gonna take over and be evil. And do I think that the villains were too dangerous in this movie? I would say no. I would say no. I just do feel like Bowser was a lot more threatening and menacing in the first movie than in this one. I don't know why. I just felt like that. And granted, he was small for a huge chunk of it, and I did feel like they were gonna try to go with this complicated villain sort of route where after spending so much time with Mario and Luigi that maybe you would have some sort of harsh or you would be kind of conflicted. But yeah, they can't really commit to the whole conflicted thing either because dude is like, all right, screw that. I'm just gonna do whatever the script wants me to do. Honestly, at this point in time, because he wants to like live up to the promises that he told Bowser Jr. during his bedtime stories, but at the same time, I guess dude could change his mind. It was kind of reminding me of Sonic 3, right? Where in that film, um, he kind of likes, he doesn't like Sonic, but he's kind of more conflicted in the sense that maybe they could team up a little bit because he spent more time with him than his granddad, who doesn't really care about him at all because he hasn't spent much time with him. Similar in this movie, depending on how much time passed since the first one, little Bowser has spent some time with Mario and Luigi, so maybe he kind of is more interested in them. He's taken liking to them, maybe. I'm not sure. Whereas Bowser Jr. could care less, right? Because eventually, they arrive there, and he attacks them with like this gun, which turns them into babies, and yeah, that is what ends up happening. At first, he was gonna do something much more evil and worse that might have just killed them, but Bowser's like, no, 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 let's not do that. Let's not do that. Which I thought was interesting because I'm like, wait, does dude actually care about them now? And that's why I was so confused. Pick one. Pick conflicted and explain it, or pick no, I'm just still evil. Like, oh, my son saved me. This whole thing was an act. You shouldn't have trusted him in the first place. I don't get what the writers thought. Where maybe we'll make him conflicted, but not commit to that idea, or maybe we'll make him. It's like they were conflicted twice. Like the writers were conflicted themselves, and the audience is left to decipher this whole web string of messy things going on in their head. And oh my goodness, you guys, like I can't even put into words how confused I was by what I just saw. So yeah, they turn into babies, and I think they end up crash landing somewhere. So yeah, and then so Yoshi kind of tries to help him out. Um, I don't know what Princess Peach was doing. I guess being frustrated. Um, but yeah, that is what happened. And then there's also this like, was it a T Rex dinosaur? There is a huge actual dinosaur there, right? Who is definitely something not to be messed with. And the whole time I was thinking was, how did the gun that Bowser Jr. used to turn them into babies? How did they end up with it? Did he like throw it or something? I can't recall the scene in my head. Maybe you guys can remind me in the comments. But the whole time I was just thinking and wondering, how do they have that gun now? I'm not entirely sure. Um, right? Because there's a difference because if you want to become small, you use the blue mushroom, I guess, whereas you need that specific gun to like turn them into babies, and it's convenient that Bowser Jr. just had access to one. Cool, I guess. And the whole time I saw the dinosaur, I'm like, just turn it into a baby, turn it into a baby. They never do that. I don't know if it would have helped or not, honestly, but maybe Yoshi could have eaten the baby dinosaur. I don't know. But no, then we don't want to do that to the dinosaur. It's already grown up. Let it stay grown up. Instead, they undo it, whatever happened to them. And I think Luigi was like, oh, I kind of like being a baby, not having to worry about anything. Because he was still crying, even as soon as he turned back. So that whole thing was interesting. And I just don't know why they dedicated screen time to this when it just didn't really make any sense. Again, there were a lot of cool scenes with Princess Peach where again she was doing a lot of fighting and action on her own. But then at this point in the film, it kind of shimmers down a bit, dims down a bit, whatever you want to say, to the point where it's like, all right, we need to solve this problem and fast now. So they all go and they try to stop her, right? And of course, rescue Rosalina. So they get there, and afterwards, um, Princess Peach goes to save Princess Rosalina, so she's off doing her own thing, while Mario has to take on Bowser Jr., I guess, and Bowser also. I guess both of them combined. Um, and of course, they use power ups. And oh my goodness, dude, it goes by so fast. Y'all, like, whatever fighting they do, it's like, what power up did they just use? It's so weird. Like, what is going on? The Yoshi's using power ups as well, I guess. And they don't really explain, like, he just shows up and he's there. I mean, the trailer also pointed it out, but yeah, no. Like, dude is just with them now. Like, he's part of the group. Like, he actually cares for some reason. Like, okay, wow. I mean, I guess maybe this is like he wants like some exciting action and adventure because maybe that's just the kind of guy he is, a little mischievous as well, and maybe this is the way where he can fit in. But you don't want to trust him all the way. But you can put more faith in him than that monkey for sure. Um, so yeah, I think eventually Bowser Jr. like summons this dragon being, right? Which ends up backfiring because I guess it almost kills him. Oh, and I remember because Princess Peach and Mario, right? They end up defeating him, and I think he falls inside of the lava, right? And he does end up turning into Dry Bowser, right? You think he's dead, and they kind of feel bad for Bowser Jr. I thought what was gonna happen was Bowser was gonna be dead, and Bowser Jr. was gonna be really angry, and he would start attacking them. That didn't end up happening because we love Jack Black, so he ends up becoming Dry Bowser, who was kind of intense. Yeah, he's the undead skeletal form of Bowser created when he falls into lava and his skin melts off, debuting in the new Super Mario Bros. So Super Mario Bros. Okay. Yeah, there was a Super Mario Bros. 2006 version which is where I think this originated from, right? And he is King of the Dry Bones, and he's a recurring boss or unlockable character. Yeah. So that's what he turns into, and Bowser Jr. was like, he's back, and they keep fighting, and then of course Bowser Jr. summons a dragon. It ends up almost killing him, and then Mario's like, "Alright, fine, I'll go and save him." He saves him, and yeah, I think that kind of ends there, where he's back, and him and Bowser, Dry Bowser, that is, try to go and look for his missing parts. They did end up finding his femur bone, which is definitely important, and they got to assemble the rest of him. But afterwards, they end up getting locked up, the two of them together, and that kind of ends things for their run. And of course, Princess Peach, because she needs to rescue Rosalina, because while she's trapped in there, she's really powerful. So her power is like enough because they need like the most powerful princess out of all the galaxies to like destroy almost everything, I guess. And so she ends up rescuing her on her own, which is fine. And because I guess because the two of them together can, you know, or they're really powerful, so that is very helpful for them. So they break out, or she breaks out, and then they get out of there, and they're like, all right, well, that's done. And her children are also there, I guess. And everything's happy, everything's pretty much resolved by now. The villains have been defeated for the film, and yeah, that pretty much ends things there. I don't know what the Koopas and Goombas do whenever they're like their king or whatever their ruler, their master, I guess, is locked up. Do they just become dormant? I wonder what what's his name, Kamik, whatever you call him, does during that period of time. Like, is someone else gonna step in to take revenge? Probably not, but you never know, I guess. So then, Princess Rosalina wants to visit Princess Peach's castle, which she could have done so a long time ago, but they waited until now. And yeah, everyone in the theater kind of, and also you can see Marlon Luigi's expression was like, yeah, that is definitely something. It's a funny story. I think they said like it died or something, like it's dead, which was absolutely hilarious. But Mario's like, oh, we can fix it. We can build a new one. And well, that's exactly what they end up doing. And they rush through it. They do it super fast. Of course, they try to use, you know, some cool effects while it happens. I also forgot to mention another scene, right, where Peach is trying to, of course, because she's doing almost everything on her own in this film. She's trying to rescue Rosalina, and Bowser's like, "Oh, don't worry, Father. I have a bunch of traps set up in place." And yeah, she just ends up almost beating them. And afterwards, because it's like he's playing a video game, right? Himself, he's playing like a Nintendo video game, and like she's just beating all of the levels. It's kind of like opposite of what you'd want to do, I guess. And afterwards, like she gets through, and like her and her father both are just like she just got through all of it, and that was, I think, the other like one of the few times I laughed in this film. But that was another funny moment. There are a lot of funny moments though, for sure. And so that happens, and then of course we get to the ending of the film, where they all get to work and they end up creating a new and I guess better improved castle. And yeah, that's where things pretty much end up. Princess Peach kisses Mario on the cheek, and yeah, that's kind of where their relationship is at. They build a castle, and it's like we're out of there, we're done. Like we started with references and Easter eggs, we did references and Easter eggs, boom, we're ending with reference and Easter eggs, and like that's it, that's it. Like just fade to black, just cut, we're gone. Absolutely hilarious stuff. That's it. That's all Princess Rosaline is gonna do, right? Just make her character really powerful, but also add a bunch of unanswered questions, and maybe they, like have like an actual sister relationship going on, but never really show any of that at all. Just tease it as to like what could have been or what could be, and just end things there. And yeah, that's how the film ends. Coming into the post credit scenes, the first post credit scene was Tiny Bowser, Tiny Dry Bowser, and Tiny Bowser Jr., right? They were locked up, but this time the guard was the depressed Blue Star. I forgot what he's called. Starts with an L, right? Like the things that illuminate, luminescence, whatever. He's there, and they're both like Bowser is trying to like be a father figure. He's trying to tell his son, don't worry, but in reality, I guess they're both kind of scared. So I guess maybe he's more threatening and menacing, and maybe that's kind of what they need. At first, I saw him in the trailer. Go check out my trailer reaction as well if you're not tired by now. But and that one I did mention how, I didn't want to see him again, but I was like, you know what, it's fine, it's whatever. If you want to make like these sort of edgy, dark humor jokes, I guess we can do it. But other than that, really no need for this. We didn't really have any pop songs. We just had some music in it. Of course, in the first film, Jack Black's notoriously iconic Princess Peach song really went viral. Because I remember after I saw it in the theater, because the first time I saw it was during a school trip, and afterwards, like some of my friends were just singing the song on the bus, after we left the theater. So I think that was a nice moment. And yeah, that is what ended up happening. The first post credit scene, and then the second post credit scene, we tease Princess Daisy, and hopefully we'll do something important with her in the next film. Um, and I guess she's gonna be a major character happening. Yep. All right, you guys. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. Exactly, I've explained to you what happened in the film, so take that as it is. Oh my goodness, you guys! I've been yapping for so long. Anyways, let me finish things off here just by saying, first thing first, um, my review, my rating for the film. Should you check it out? Should you not check it out? What are my thoughts about it? You should check it out if you've seen the first film and you want to know what happens next. You should. Actually, if you've seen this, you've probably seen it by now, but that's my honest thought about it. I guess if you want to see if I should recommend it to other people, should you check it out? If you've seen the first film, yes, and if you're gonna watch the others, I definitely recommend so. But as for my overall thoughts, yeah, like this is for kids. Kids are the target audience for it. References and Easter eggs, that's all we've got. Story and logic, don't really look for it. For me, story and logic really matters more than anything else. Um, so just keep that in mind. Again, that's why I give Sonic 3 a 9 out of 10, because I was blown away at how good it was, right? You can do a video game adaptation of a film, or film adapted from a video game. Kind of, maybe I mixed that up. But you can do it and still tell a really good story, and all of that, and all work out. Because again, I think the Mario games are just more iconic, and the branding and the merchandising and all of that, which is why the Mario games make more money. The Mario movies also make more money. But Sega's doing its own thing, and that's fine. You can try your own cool little spin on that. But I really like the Sonic movies because the writing is just that good. Now, granted, it's live action, so you don't have to worry about making cool animation, but the visuals and VFX and CGI and the post production, the editing, and everything is so smooth. And what helps is the last Sonic movie, the third one, I think it was more than it was like maybe like an hour and 40, 50 minutes long. Honestly, like you can tell a movie that's that long and not have to worry about it, right? Just give people enough time to breathe to really enjoy. Like, wow, it's like you made a masterpiece, an artistic work, but you're like, no, just look at the next one. Like you have one, it's like you have 1,000 pieces of artistic works and you only show one per second. Like you see one, boom, now look at the next one, boom, now look at the next one, boom, now look at the next one. That is what this film is. It looks great, but by the time you're trying to admire what you're seeing right now, it's already jumped to the next thing. And by the time you're trying to comprehend that next thing, you've already jumped to the next thing by then. So just a continuous cycle until the film is over. So that was one of my complaints. I think a lot of people are saying the pacing is horrible, man. There's no room to really breathe. Because I remember, I heard like when the second movie came out, people were like, oh, there's pacing issues in this film, right? And I felt it. I'm like, weren't there pacing issues in the first film? So afterwards, I ended up rewatching the first one, right? And maybe there were a few scenes where there were pacing issues, but other than that, not as many, right? Of course, the film has a couple of flaws. Some people said there was really no need of using those like older pop songs that are being overplayed. There was no need of that, which this film kind of fixes. It dives deeper into more references and Easter eggs that people really enjoy, and I guess improving the animation after the first one. But in terms of, trying to tell a logical story, the first one actually had something that was more coherent that I could like make of it. In this one, it's like, you've seen the games, let's just make a film out of it. Let's just, take some of this, some of this, some of that. And we don't need a script. We don't need words. I mean, we'll have words, but let's more so just bring in the most random ideas. Like what do you want to see in the film? What do you want to see in the film? And instead of trying to connect everything, let's just do it. Let's just do it, right? I want to do this scene right now. You want to add this scene right now? All right, let's just do it right now. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. We're going to do it right now. That is how I view this film. And if you're a kid, you probably won't care about the story and all that. Like, oh, it looks really good. I'm having a fun time. I love playing the games. Or if you're a diehard, Nintendo fan, you grew up playing this stuff, and you might enjoy it as well. But again, I kind of care about story. That's why I give Sonic 3 a 9 out of 10. It really blew me away with how much you can do and still tell a good story and do good character arcs in that one. I guess also this one is only the second film, it isn't the third one or anything. But I was hoping we'd get some sort of arc or, trying to find some in depth meaning, but you're not really going to find it from these films. But you can still do it, right? Like the excuse that it's a film for kids should in no way mean that you can't tell a good story. A perfect example I give of this is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Not only is it really well animated, blew me away with the animation style. Not only is it a really good kids movie, but it has a really good story that almost anyone from any age can really be inspired by it. These are animated movies that we need, right? I just feel like video game animated movies haven't really learned that lesson because they realize we can market and capitalize this. We could just make one and it'll do well. That's how the Minecraft movie did well. And of course, the memes helped, and having Jack Black in your film, of course, ups the odds. So, hey, if you want to make a video game film that'll print money, just have Jack Black do some role. Just give him a role for any reason at all, and it'll do well. Live action or animated, whatever. It'll be fun. Okay, what's my rating for the film gonna be? I've been thinking about it. I have been thinking about it for a while now, and it's been bugging me for the longest bit. Um, Again, I don't know why, but it has. I'm gonna have to think. So I think I give the first Mario movie an 8 out of 10, right? And I like that one more. I think my argument has been the first Mario movie is better, Super Mario Brothers, but this might be, or sorry, the first Mario movie is a better movie, but this one is a better Mario movie in the sense that we adapt more and looks better and we get rid of the pop songs. But the first one tells a better story. So, again, and that's sort of kind of where, since I personally value story more, I give the first one 8 out of 10. I'm giving this one a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I think I'm fairly happy with giving this a 7.5 out of 10. Because again, I don't have any other really strong issues, um, with this film to where I'll be like, yeah, it's average, it's mid. Because the animation, the costumes, the looks, those are like pretty much 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 stuff, right? If I were a kid, I think my rating might be the same, maybe a little bit higher, but I think if I average and even everything out, 7.5 out of 10 final rating. But anyways, you guys, that is the end of the video. I think it's my longest video yet I've ever done. Yeah, wow. But anyways, you guys, thanks for sticking to the end. You made it to the end, so congrats. Anyways, Eagle vs. Reactors out. Take care. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace.